All right, man. All right. First of all, I'd like to introduce you all to the famous, and this is so damn exclusive, I can't even believe my ears that I'm hearing you right now, Brad.
Right on.
And I just want to say welcome, and a Panda Jalopy kick-ass album, man.
Cool, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
All right, so
hard on it over the years, you know.
Yeah, I mean, so how'd you create this, man? How'd you Frankenstein this project up?
Well, let's see. You know, Blind Melon abruptly came to an end after Shannon had died, and I sat around on my ass for like 6 to 8 months and just tried to pick up the pieces and figure out what the hell I was going to do with my whole career. And, you know, the thought did cross my mind that I would never, want to be in a band again, and that was just total grief-stricken, irrational thinking, because music is really the center of my being, as far as what I need to do with my life.
Yeah.
And I started writing songs, and I always knew that I could write, full arrangements and play drums and bass and stuff like that, but I'd never put myself to the test and go, you know what, I'm going to make a record.
Hell yeah.
It was about 6 to 8 months after Shannon had died that I started recording and compiling songs, and some of the songs were really crappy, and I had started over and rearranged them or just trashed them all together,
Yeah.
And then I, doing over the past 3 or 4 years, I've been like doing session stuff. I started a new band called Unified Theory, and I was always.
You guys really took off with that too, man.
What's that?
You guys really took off with that too.
Oh yeah. I mean, Unified Theory is doing great, but I always had an excuse to put Abandoned Jalopy on the back burner.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until recently that I found a little hole in the timing of what other things I was doing that I can actually release it.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited about it coming out and people hearing it. There's a bunch of songs on there. About 3 songs that are, about Shannon, specifically about, losing a great friend and or things that I gained from that experience.
Yeah, so this was just a total inspiration.
Yeah, I mean this album is more like a journal than it is.
Yeah, I could tell. It goes through a lot of life's realities, man.
Yeah, totally.
I can find myself in a lot of these situations, and I look back and I'm like, you know what? This is just a life with a melody to it, man.
Yeah, totally. That's exactly what it is. It's almost, I tried to paint like a picturesque environment on every song, and so people can identify with it in some kind of visual way,
Yeah, well, I see you think Stone Gossard in the book, man.
What's that?
Stone Gossard, the guitars for Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
Well, what's up with that?
Well, he had that label in Seattle called Loose Groove.
Yeah.
And when I was almost finished with my record, someone had given him a CD of my record.
Yeah.
And he called me up, and he and I had met a couple of times because Blind Melon had toured with Pearl Jam.
Dave Cruson from...
we toured with Neil Young and Pearl Jam for like 6 or 7 days, and I'd always just bumped into him in Seattle, and I loosely knew him.
Yeah.
He called me up out of the blue, was just really excited. It was like, man, what are you doing with this? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm playing on these other people's records right now. I don't know if I should release it or go for a major label deal or put it out independently and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he had always just been an amazing supporter. He called me, he called me all the time and wanted to know what was going on, and he eventually offered a deal, and the deal wasn't right for whatever reason, and Loose Groove was going under, and it just never happened. But he was just always been a really good supporter of mine and encouraged me to keep pursuing it,
Yeah, I see you mixed it too, man. Do you always have a say-so in mixes and mastering and all that, man?
Christopher produces records, and I produce records, and I got Christopher because you have to have an objective ear.
Yeah, he ain't got the naked ear, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, exactly. So he, and Christopher also played a lot of guitar on the record as well. But, Christopher and I are producers and engineers. I mean, we did the Unified Theory record as well. He and I produced that record together. And, I'm a geek, man. I love the studio and twisting knobs
That's
and,
not
and
geekish,
getting the best sounds on tape and all that jazz.
That's not geekish, man. It's creativity.
Yeah, right on.
It's great, man. So, hey, man, how was it having the OG members, Glenn, Chris, Rogers, in the studio with you doing a couple songs, man?
It was good. I mean, we were in kind of a transitional period, and we were trying out singers because we didn't know if we were going to carry on as Blind Melon Mach 2 or not. And, in my heart of hearts, I didn't really want to do that, but I was just going with the flow because I wanted to play music with those guys again and see what it's like, But there was just too big of a void without Shannon, and so we recorded a few songs, and I sang on them, and those ended up on my record, you know.
That's cool. But, okay, you guys were a Unified Theory. You guys were an opening band for, like, Live and Counting Crows, man.
Yeah.
You guys got really up there.
Man, those guys treated us so sweet. They had us out every night on stage and played a couple of songs with them. They had Christian, Ed had Chris come out and sing on a couple of songs, and the Counting Crows had the whole band out on the very last song for Hanging Around. They had this big ensemble, you know.
Oh, wow.
And like the grand finale, all the bands were out on stage playing this song, you know. And we had a ton of fun. It was an amazing tour for us, actually.
So, was it starting a new band? Was it a headache, or was it just easy as hell, man?
What, the new band?
Yeah, or both of them. I mean, just getting up off your ass, like as you said, sitting around for 8 months, man.
It's all easy. I mean, I played on several other people's records, and I've always been involved in music, whether I was producing local bands or not. But Chris Shin was the first singer that I ran into. I said to myself, like, I could be in a band with this guy because he's really good.
He's
I'm picky as shit as hell, you know what I mean? I'm so picky, and he's a great singer, you know. And I was just like, I was thinking to myself, like, this could totally work as a band.
Oh,
I think it took Chris to pull Christopher and I, you know, across the line again to be in a band and tour and make records, you know, as a band entity, you know.
So you look up to him as in, hey, he got me off my off my stupor, got me off on a road again.
Well, no, I think it just took the right person. I mean, I was never sitting flat-footed. I mean, I finished my record and I produced other bands, like I said, but I think he was the only person that made me go, oh, okay, I can do that now again, you know. But I was, you know, what can I say? I'm happy doing anything associated with music. So.
Are you still using that sweet that Fender Jazz, that bass?
Yeah, I do sometimes. Man, you know what's weird is that
so signature for you,
much in Unified Theory, but like on all of my stuff, I do just because I like that mid-tone.
Yeah, it's got that
the jazz bass has, you know.
It's got that sweet tone to it, man.
Yeah.
So, all right. I'm going to get on an old tip real fast, but the Tones of Home conflict, okay? Somebody asked me this, and I promised I would.
Right.
The lyrics a long time ago and all that.
Right.
But, well, I mean, what was the whole thing about that?
About Tones of Home?
Yeah. Like the writing of it with Shannon and I don't know who the other person is.
This guy named Howie Bashan had brought in the first, did he bring in the first verse? I don't know. Rogers and I had written the music to that song, and this guy named Howie Bashan was the drummer in the band at that time. This is before Shannon was there.
Oh, wow.
And this is me and Rogers, and Howie was drumming, and I was like singing and writing lyrics and so forth.
Yeah.
And, okay, can I talk to that? Let's see, I wrote a couple of verses that were loosely related to coming to Los Angeles and missing home, but respecting where you come from.
Yeah.
And Rogers had written a verse, and Howie had written a verse, and that's where the songs had come from.
Well, see, I originally thought this Tones of Home came from the Sleepy House.
No, I could see how people would think that.
Yeah.
It did not. In fact, Tones of Home was one of the very first songs that Rogers and I had written for Blind Melon.
Now, okay, on us and a phenomenon, like when you guys played Saturday Night Live, okay? Now, where did you find a bee-suit big enough for Chris Farley's big ass? Please ask that. Whose idea was that, huh?
Well, the wardrobe, they thought it up on their own. I mean, Chris Farley was a total face, man. He was so awesome, man.
Oh, my God.
They did it all themselves. I mean, the people in wardrobe made the costume or whatever, and he just showed up.
Oh.
In fact, you know, it came on as like an advertisement a week before we were on the show.
Oh, wow.
Chris Farley was like, you know, saying, Blind Melon's going to be next week, and zipping around in a bee suit. He actually took a picture of him, and we used that as our backstage laminate for, like, the rest of the year or something. And
that's cool.
He is hilarious, man. He is so fucking awesome.
Wish he was still around, man.
Yeah, me too. I still have that laminate. I have it pinned up on a wall in my studio, and I always look at it every now and again. I mean, I can't believe Chris Farley just, like, flipped out like that. It's such a bummer because he was so entertaining.
He was so cool, man.
A kind person that just...
Warm-hearted, man. You can just tell that.
There's a few songs on there about growing up, like, you know, back home in Mississippi, and, you know, indirectly instead, I think it's the first song on the record, is about my grandmother, whom we call Big Mama. Big Mama and Big Daddy were our grandparents, you know. And indirectly, Instead was about that, about, you know, how my life is just completely different from hers. I mean, she grew up in a country, on the countryside of Mississippi with 15 other people, you know, and met her husband in church, you know, and just crazy stuff like that, you know.
Big mama.
You know, it's about me coming out to L.A. and I met my wife at Ricky Brackman's world famous Cat House in a rock and roll club, you know.
Wow. Hell yeah.
Like, the song was slightly sparked by that, and
oh, what a coincidence, huh?
yeah, and it's, you know, it's slightly sparked by that, and you know, California, or Slow Down Good Times, which Unified Theory actually did on the Unified Theory record. It's also on my solo record, but it's called a different title. It's about coming to Los Angeles and you know, how rough it can be, and you know, but you're there doing it, and that's what keeps you going. That's the inspiration. The fact that you're surviving Los Angeles is a feat in itself, you know. So I think it's just like a chronology of where I am, you know, kind of up to date and stuff.
All right, now you've had the chance to dip into the rock and roll lifestyle. Was it everything you thought it to be?
Well, I don't know. I don't really have anything to compare it to, but I didn't really expect anything as far as, like, you know, living a rock and roll lifestyle. I'm just kind of like floating through outer space and what I want to do and getting away with it. I guess that's rock and roll. It's like I've pretty much done exactly what I wanted to do since I was 14 years old, and I've just gotten away with murder, you know.
Mostly the definition of...
I'm so lucky.
Definition of rock and roll nowadays, man, I mean, well, there's so many, I guess, if you want to say. I guess there's, like, so many different side things that you could say. There's alternative, there's grunge, whatever you want to call it. Where would you, like, find yourself in, like, a definition? Wouldn't even be rock and roll, would it?
Are you talking about the Bandit Jalopy?
Yeah, the Bandit Jalopy.
Yeah, you know, that's a good question, because in a weird way, my record is like folk rock.
I know. I hear it's such a variety of music. I mean, it makes me smile. It makes me look back. I'm all over the place. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know where to define it, man.
Yeah, it's just so good. Folk rock is the best way that I could describe it.
Yeah.
And again, you have like the funk aspect. I mean, there's a lot of funk on the record, even though it's disguised in like, you know, alternative rock. But
she's original.
I'm a big fan of like James Brown and Sly and the Family Stone and Rage Against the Machine, and anybody with a bad case of the nasties is what I'm into, you know.
All right, that's how you have a bad case of the nasties. That's what.
Bad case of the nasties. I think my record has a bad case of the nasties in a few spots.
All right, to end this note, Brad. Okay. Would you like to play No Business with me?
Would I like to play it?
Yeah. Would you like to sing with me? Please, just to end this great interview, man.
I forgot the words. Let's hear you sing it.
Okay, I'll try it first. You ain't got no business on this side of the fence. You ain't got no business on this side of the fence. You better run. Come on, Brad. Gonna get my shot. Go ahead. Well, it was just a pleasure playing it for you.
On your phone, but you know what? If you play the shit out of the guitar, I gotta come out your way and we'll have a sit down and have a jam session.
Fucking A, man. That would be lovely. I would sit down and drink a beer and you know what. Alright, man. I would just like to say, everybody, check out the Bandit Jalopy. Man, awesome Unified Theory. Anything BradSmith is your god, man.
Oh, man, I totally appreciate your support, and you know, I'd like people to drop by my website. My brother designed my website, and he did it out of the kindness of his heart so far.
Yeah, he's the one who hooked me up.
As soon as I sell some records, he's gonna send me an invoice. But he made a great website, and it'd be great if everybody could drop by and sign the guest book and say you love it, you hate it, kiss my ass, whatever. I'd love to hear from him.
All right, that's www.abandonjalopy.com.
That's it.
Hell yeah. All right, Brad. Thanks again, dude.
Thank you, Justin.
All right, man. Okay, I'd like to introduce you all to the great, one of my music.
The way that I write?
Yeah, man.
It just depends. It comes from...
You guys gave the Capitol?
Yeah, well, if you look at the first record, I think that you know...
I see you still work with Danny Clinch, you know. He did the photography for the Bandit Jalopy.